Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I want to share with you my best piece of interview preparation advice that hardly anyone takes. Before I jump into that, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're looking forward to hearing that piece of advice. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life work balance advice delivered directly to you every week. So, when I am working with people during their interview strategy sessions, my most common piece of advice that I give, that I bet most people don't take, is to record yourself. When you are preparing for an interview, recording yourself on your smartphone is the easiest way to see how you will be perceived during the interview process. Now, this is a piece of advice that you can use while you're preparing for an in-person interview or a virtual interview. So here are 5 reasons why you should use your smartphone to record yourself practicing and preparing for an interview. The first reason why you should record yourself while you're preparing for your interview is because you cannot wing an interview. If you think that you can just walk into your in-person interview or turn on your Zoom for your virtual interview and just wing it, the chances of things going smoothly is low. With virtual interviews, you might want to log on to your Zoom or your Teams early and make sure that you have all of the technology in order. Make sure that your microphone works. Make sure that your camera works. Make sure you don't have any distracting backgrounds or filters that will appear on your video. Just because you might be good at interviewing in person doesn't mean that you'll be able to crush the video or the virtual interview experience. You'll need to adjust your energy level. You're going to need to practice making eye contact with the camera. You're going to need to practice your volume and how quickly you speak, or your syncopation of how you speak, the inflection, the tone, all of those different things. You might need to practice talking with your hands. So there are many things that you will want to practice when it comes to your video or your in-person interview, and recording yourself will set you up for success in either situation. So you're not just going to have immediate success if you choose to wing your interview. Recording yourself gives you an opportunity to actually test out the environment and see how you might come across, which leads me into my second reason as to why you should record yourself. The camera doesn't lie. When you're recording yourself, you'll be able to watch yourself back and gather data about how you show up for your interview. You'll be able to see how you look on camera, how you might be perceived on camera. Are you making eye contact with the camera and making it feel more like a conversation? Or are you looking at yourself in the bottom corner of your screen, focusing on that? How do you sound? Do you feel cold and robotic, or do you feel warm and conversational? What does your nonverbal communication look like? And then you can also hear how your responses sound to common interview questions. Do you say or like, or use other filler words regularly in your responses? Sometimes filler words can become distracting to the other people on the other end, and they might start counting how many times you say or how many times you say like. So focusing on watching yourself from an objective standpoint will give you the opportunity to objectively take feedback from how you show up on camera and be better for your in-person or your virtual interview. You might be squirming a lot. You might be swaying side to side, and you might not even know that you're doing this until you watch yourself back on your recording. The third reason why you should record yourself practicing your interview is you can actually hear your responses come back. Now, I know I mentioned this sort of in the previous tip, but really what it comes down to is you want to make sure that your response is conversational, smooth, and fluid. You do not want to memorize your answers, because memorizing your answers to common interview questions could result in you sounding robotic and boring, or you might give a memorized response that doesn't actually answer the question that was asked. So you'll want to come up with some bullet points that you can practice answering more conversationally while you're recording yourself, so that you can replicate the interview process rather than memorizing answers to common interview questions and then answering it wrong in real time. My fourth tip is to rehearse answering very common interview questions. And again, similar to tip number 3, Don't memorize it, but rehearse them. So what sorts of questions should you practice answering during your video recording of yourself while you are preparing for the interview? Well, first and foremost, tell me about yourself. You want to answer this question using my 3-part formula of present, past, future. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got several videos on this topic. I've linked to it in a card up above, and I've also put it in the description box below. But you'll want to answer the question, tell me about yourself. The things that you'll want to listen for, again, like I've mentioned before, is how smooth and fluid and conversational this response sounds. You also want to pay attention to how long your response is. So you can do this with other interview questions as well. See how long it takes you to answer these questions. Is it 10 seconds? Way too fast. Or is it 5 minutes? Way too long. You want to make sure that you have a concise but full answer to all of these types of interview questions. So tell me about yourself is definitely one that you can expect during the interview process. You want your answer to this question to range between 30 seconds to 90 seconds. Some other questions that you can practice answering would include describing your most recent position, describing why you want to make the change from your current job to this new job, why you want to work for this new company, talking about some of your accomplishments or the things that you're most proud of, and maybe even strengths or weaknesses. You'll also want to practice asking some questions to the camera because I always recommend having at least 3 questions prepared for the end of your interview, because every interview I've been a part of has ended with the question, do you have any questions for us? Practice asking those questions and watch back how those questions come across. And then my 5th and final tip or reason as to why you should practice recording yourself is to truly evaluate how you come across. You want to come across as authentic. You want to create a connection with the people on the other end, whether it's in person or on the other end of the screen. And you want to give them a taste of who you are. You want to make sure that this company, this role, this organization, this team is not only a good fit for you, but that you are also a good fit for them. Show up in an authentic, genuine way so that they know what they are getting. The most important thing when it comes to finding a job is making sure that it's a good fit for you. You don't want to be fake. You don't want to pretend to be someone that you're not. So when you're watching yourself back, after you've recorded yourself answering some of these common interview questions, ask yourself, does this feel like me? While I'm watching this, does that seem like the person who I truly am? You want to work for some place that wants you as a person, not just an employee who's going to be cranking out results and quantifiable metrics, but a true human being who's going to be able to bring more than just work with them. Organizations are looking for people who are going to be a good fit overall, not just a good fit for the job. So a good fit for the team, for the manager, for the culture, and a good fit for the actual work. So there are lots of things that go into picking or selecting someone for a job. And if you come across as cold, robotic, unlikable, unknowledgeable, you lack confidence, all of those things could play against you. And if you record yourself preparing for your interview, you'll be able to watch that recording back and make an assessment of your overall, quote, performance. If you were the interviewer, based off of how your recording went, would you want to hire you? So I highly, highly recommend that you record yourself preparing for your interview. Record yourself answering these common questions. If you would like more examples of questions that you can practice answering, I've got a list of 52 behavioral-based questions on my website that's available for you to download for free. I've linked to it in the description box below. Those behavioral-based questions are questions that you should answer using the STAR or the CAR method. And you'll want to practice using this method to answer some of these questions. You'll want to check out your timing. There's all of these things that go into preparing for your interview. And to truly set yourself up for success, to be your best self possible during the interview, I highly, highly recommend recording yourself and watching it back before you go into your interview. This is a very common piece of advice that I give during my interview strategy sessions and my interview preparation sessions with clients. And I bet there are very few people who actually take this advice. So I challenge you to do this. And if you do record yourself preparing for your interview and you watch it back, come report back to us and let us know how things went. Did you notice anything about yourself? Did you decide to make any changes with how you answered questions? How you may be fidgeting on camera? If you said or like as your filler words? And did you make any changes moving forward? Also, let us know how your interviews went. Did you have success? Did anything happen that surprised you? How did your interviews go? And how have you used this advice to have a successful interview in the future? So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts or ideas, please put them in the comments box below. I love receiving comments and I will do my best to get back to you and respond to each comment individually. But just know that if I'm not able to get back to you and you share your experience will likely help someone else who's preparing for their interviews in the future. If you're looking for more customized one-on-one interview coaching, I have a few slots available each week to work with clients. So please contact me today if you are preparing for an interview in the next week or two. I would love to get you on the schedule and work with you one-on-one to help you have the most effective interview possible. I've linked to my website in the description box below where you can pay for and schedule your session directly. I've also linked to my email so that you can just reach out to me and we can schedule that way as well. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life, work, balance advice delivered directly to you every week. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.